What's up guys? So today I'm going to be making a bow drill. A bow drill is a primitive tool used for making fire. And if you haven't guessed, I've never made one. So yeah, I expect to fail. We basically only need 4 basic parts to this bow drill. A base, a rope, a spindle, and what was the last one? The bow! The rope of the bow was generally made from natural materials such as grass intertwined together, but I have no idea how to do that. So today I'm going to be scavenging the ground looking for any sort of rubbish or anything that we can use for that rope. So let's take a look. Now, of course, guys, we're looking for dry materials as we're starting a fire, but oftentimes the best place to look for trash is along riverbanks, on the beach, anywhere that water's flowing that could possibly bring rubbish from one area of the island to where we are right now. Here is a little subak. That's what they're called in Bali. They're just little tributaries or water reservoirs that come from small areas or villages and lead to the Sunda or the main rivers. As you can see, today the subak looks pretty clean. It hasn't rained in a while, which is a contributing factor, because as it rains, the subaks flood and they bring with it all the trash that's up in the mountains or in the villages or at illegal dump sites. I happen to know of an illegal dump site that's not too far away, so let's check it out. Alright, so what we're looking for is anything that we could possibly use as a rope for our bow. I'm not seeing anything. So I just found this cool coconut bowl. It's fairly dry. I'm not sure what we could use it for, but let's go ahead and bring it with us. See, so something like this could be the perfect rope-like item for our bow. I'm not sure if it'll work. Like I said, I've never made one of these, but we're gonna try it out. Now, right beside a rope, we found this branch, which could be perfect for a spindle. What you're looking for in a spindle is a piece of hardwood that is straight as can be and narrow. This is bamboo. I'm not sure if it works for a bow drill as the spindle, but we're gonna give it a try. So I actually picked up a stick upstairs. We have different sizes than bamboo. We have a short stick for a spindle. We have a rather long stick. That might actually work as a bow. It's a little bent. And then of course, we have this stick. We also just got lucky because down here is the perfect base. Might be a little thin actually. So we're gonna go ahead and try it. No way! This could actually work for our bow right here. Alright, so we got our bow right here. We got our string. Could almost fit perfectly like that. What you're gonna do is cut a notch into each end of the bow. And just like that. Shit, this bow is kind of waterlogged. As you can see, it's fraying. I'm not sure if this is gonna work. Tell you what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to cut the bow a little bit further. So maybe instead of up here, we'll cut it down to about right there. We'll see if we can find a spot that's not so wet. About right there. I can tell that's still wet. maybe down here. That's better. It's still wet in there, but we're gonna try. So now we're gonna try to feed the cloth, which is supposed to be roped through the little nook. It's gonna have to be a lot tighter than that. First, we're gonna make like a wraparound. Maybe if we could just hold that in place, it would work. It's pretty good right there. All right, so we got the potential bow right here. There's no saying if this is gonna work or not. We're just gonna give it a try. Now I have to make the spindle. All right, so this stick right here, as you can see, it's got a little bend to it, but it's probably the straightest piece of wood that we have here. The straightest and driest. Being dry is very important because this is actually the part that's gonna catch all the friction, which will eventually create the heat to start our ember. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this one. I reckon we're gonna cut it right here, right on the bend. All right. And this, although we love those Y shapes for other building, I'm gonna cut that off. All right, so now what we have is this straight stick, sturdy, and about the right thickness that we want here. As you can see, a little bit of it chipped off when I was cutting it. But what we want to do is we want to take this end and sharpen it. One end needs to be super duper sharp. The other end needs to be quite dull but still rounded. This rounded end is going to be lubricated by a flower that we picked up earlier so that it can easily spin while the sharp end causes all the friction. So I'm just going to whittle this down. First, get all the bark off of there. All right, so now we have two ends, no bark. All right, so now I'm gonna sharpen this end and I'm gonna round this end off. I believe we don't want it too sharp, so that should be good. Now to round this edge off. Okay, that end is pretty flat, pretty rounded. The point of this is so that we don't have any friction on this end. So actually this mud is actually going to do us a favor. Another trick that you can do for this rounded end is rub a little bit of the grease from your face. And this is if you haven't showered today. That'll get it a nice slick coating. All right, now if you've done the first two steps well, you're gonna have your bow, and then you're gonna have your spindle, and you're supposed to be able to lay it on top. Let me back up here. Lay it on top and move it back and forth. So as you can see, right now, we're working to a degree. All right, we've made it this far, but now things are gonna get a little bit tricky. We're gonna make our base now. And we really need dry wood for this to work, but unfortunately I cannot find any dry wood around here. So I'm going to use this bamboo that I found in the fire pit. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the wood about an inch, about right there, and we're going to start chiseling out a little divot with our knife. Okay, so what you do is you take your wood, you take the knife, and you chisel right in the center. See that? We have a hole right there. Alright, as you can see, we're not entirely sure if this cloth is going to work as a rope. Ah! You want it a little bit loose. It's not working though. This is really not strong, guys, but we're gonna give it a shot. Alright, so it's working a little bit. What we need is something for the top of the stick, right here, so that my hand is not causing friction. We're gonna look for a rock. There has to be something down here somewhere. What about this? It's wet. I don't know. Let's give it a shot. This is normally the easiest piece to find, just the little handheld at the top. Unfortunately, I didn't come prepared, and I can't find anything to use. All right, we're gonna give this a run. The problem is the handheld. The bow is working pretty well, but the stupid handheld keeps slipping. Ordinarily, I was going to use a glass bottle, you know, just the top, and put the stick right into the hole at the top. Unfortunately, this river is one of the cleanest rivers in Indonesia I've seen, and there's absolutely no rubbish around. So we're going to have to try to fix the handhold to make sure it doesn't slide anymore. Okay, so what we've done is we've actually found this charcoal piece of wood, and I've made a little divot in this wood where the spindle will fit right inside. We're gonna see if that works better. Too much friction in the handhold. Fortunately, that's why I brought this flour that I found from upstairs. The oils on the flour should allow for less friction on the handhold. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna rub this flour all over the top part of this spindle. Really mash it up and get the oils going. Yeah, you can feel it. That should allow for a lot less friction as I rub it around. Actually, we could just rip off a bit of that and stuff it into the handheld. Just like that. All right, let's give this a go. There we go. Now it's working. There we go. It's working. It's working. It was working. It's still going. Need that flower oils. As you can see, our bow drill is successful in that it is actually drilling through the wood. A handheld, primitive, handmade tool is drilling through the wood. We're gonna save that because this is great kindling to help us get our fire started eventually. This is a great little piece that we use as a ember catcher. Once we finally get the fire going, once we finally get an ember from our bow drill, this is gonna catch the ember, which we're gonna transfer to the fire. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna transfer the sawdust to the ember catcher. That should help the ember catch fire a lot better. Okay, so now we have our handmade bow. We have the spindle, which acts as a drill, although it probably needs to be sharpened a little bit. I'll let you see that. You can see that it's actually getting worn down from the wood. We have the base piece, which as you can see is actually getting drilled by our primitive tool. Finally, we have our handmade handheld, which as you can see is getting pretty worn in the middle. We go ahead and put flowers into our handheld to eliminate the friction with the natural oils. All right, we're gonna give it another try. It was working. If we lose that flower inside, there's a lot of friction. That's something to be learned. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ah. Look. Check this out. There's actually burn marks inside the wood where we've been drilling, which means it is in fact working. Once there's burn marks, soon after there's gonna be smoke, and soon after the smoke, we're gonna get an ember, baby. I think I need to sharpen the spindle and smooth down the top of the spindle. So what we're doing is we're sharpening the bottom of the spindle and we're gonna smooth down the top of the spindle. We're just gonna see if it makes a difference. All right, and this one, maybe a little sharpening actually, but on a smooth point, that would cause the least amount of friction. And I think we'd be moving pretty good, huh? I'll tell you what, that bow drill used a lot of energy, because damn, I'm sweating, breathing heavy. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, that's pretty sharp. We don't want it too sharp, obviously. All right, we're gonna give that a go. Now, I was also told if you cut notches into the top of your spindle, then it'll actually cause more friction, which is the ultimate goal. So we're just gonna cut a couple notches there, not too deep. We don't want it to snap on us. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, that's moving good. That's moving good. Wow, wow. Do you see it smoking? Well, it was smoking just briefly. I lost the tension on the bow, which is why I stopped, or else I would keep on going for about a minute after the smoke starts. Normally, we want to cut a V-notch right here. What the V-notch does is let the ember fall once we get that far. I think we're running out of daylight now. I just don't have the right materials for this bow drill. I tried to use a freaking cloth as a rope, but it's just not cutting it. It's just the first try. It's just my first try. I've never done this before. And I would say this was a success. I mean, what we did was we achieved smoke. We charred the wood around our base, and we successfully made a spindle and a bow, again out of cloth, not a rope. So I'm gonna call it good for today. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all of our materials home: the bow, the spindle, even the shitty rope, cloth, and of course our handhold. I'm gonna put them all in the bag. We're gonna take them home tonight. I'm gonna work on them. I'm gonna try to find a proper rope, and we'll come back out tomorrow and we'll see what we can do. I guess I don't need this old bamboo spindle, although I am curious to see how it would work, so I think I'm gonna hold on to it. Anyway, thank you for watching until now. We'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully we'll get it right. Okay, I've just hiked up from the river where it's probably a little bit quieter. I'm gonna get my hands cleaned off in this little tributary, and we're gonna hike on out of here. Tell you what, man, that bow drill makes you bloody tired. I'm gonna have to get me a massage tomorrow. I don't think I'll ever get over these pink vines. Good Lord.